Hi, my name is natekokernot. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about the body and what the concept of the body represents in A Course in Miracles. If you happen to be watching from the United States, you may have heard that the subsidies for our health insurance, which began with Obamacare, are going to expire in the next few days, and that we'll all be paying a lot more for our health insurance after this week. You may want to consider the possibility that this doesn't have to be a cause for worry and concern. If you want to be worried and concerned about this, then this episode might trigger you, and I understand that, but I'm going to say it anyways. I'll start with a passage from chapter 15 of the text. Quote, "Our task is but to continue, as fast as possible, the necessary process of looking straight at all that interferes and seeing it exactly as it is. For it is impossible to recognize as wholly without gratification what you think you want. The body is the symbol of the ego, as the ego is the symbol of separation, and both are nothing more than attempts to limit communication, and thereby to make it impossible. For communication must be unlimited in order to have meaning, and deprived of meaning it will not satisfy you completely. Yet it remains the only means by which you can establish real relationships." End quote. It certainly does appear as though our bodies are what separates us from everything else. We all have this boundary called the skin, which seems to define us. Everything outside of this boundary is not me, and everything inside of this boundary is me. A Course in Miracles is saying that this is all a ruse, or a false concept, with seemingly tragic results like sickness and death. But on the plus side, it opens us up to all sorts of gratifying body-centered pleasures that we can seek and find. In my practical mind, I accepted a few years ago that if I were to continue to chase those bodily pleasures, the dopamine version of seeking happiness, which is a fleeting happiness followed by a crash, that one, I would have to take all the bad with the good, the pain with the pleasure, and two, I would be denying myself the possibility of a more permanent happiness by settling for this roller coaster version of happiness, with all these ups and downs entrenched in it. Or there's option two. I could stop giving the body any mind at all. Since making that decision, I can tell you that I haven't been getting sick anymore. Here's another passage that really gets to the heart of why this happens like this. Think about the dopamine cycle of anticipate, attain, and then crash afterwards as you listen to this quote. Quote, "At no single instant does the body exist at all. It is always remembered or anticipated, but never experienced just now. Only its past and future make it seem real. Time controls it entirely, for sin is never present. In any single instant, the attraction of guilt would be experienced as pain and nothing else, and would be avoided. It has no attraction now. Its whole attraction is imaginary, and therefore must be thought of from the past or in the future." End quote. The first half of that passage clearly states that the body has never actually existed, and the second half of that passage talks about the attraction of guilt, as though those two things were related, the body and guilt. But if the body is the ego's most prized symbol for the separation being true, and if guilt is what we manifested by believing that we had successfully separated from everything, then it makes sense. It's become a question not of is it right or wrong to go in pursuit of bodily pleasures, but a question of whether that's true or not, that the body can experience pleasure or pain on its own. As long as that's what we're seeking, we're going to experience both. Bodily appetites, which are satisfied, will bring us pleasure, while sickness and excessive consumption both bring the pain. They are a package deal, so you can't order up just one because of the unconscious guilt that is embedded in the whole fantasy. Nowadays, if I'm starting to feel something coming on, like a frog in the throat or an earache, whatever it is, I just close my eyes and I remind myself that I would rather have peace instead of this, and allow myself to experience the feeling without imagining that it is a body feeling, but rather as an imaginary feeling in my mind, just like the body itself is, nothing more than a false image of myself. It says in the Bible that God created us in His image, and we took that concept and ran with it, but in the wrong direction. We created a God with a body in our imagination, not realizing that by doing so we were actually creating a God in our image. It's hard to imagine an image that doesn't involve our eyes in the sense of sight. But imagine, if you will, that the word image is embedded in the word imagine. And realize that the word realize sounds a lot like real eyes. And then imagine, with your real eyes, a world beyond sight, a place where you now reside, despite the fact that you cannot see it or hear it or smell it or taste it. But you can sense its truth. You can feel the loving warmth of the truth. You can feel yourself in heaven, simply by closing your eyes, putting aside all thoughts of separation, and remembering eternity as your real home. It seems pretty absurd to think that our minds have the power to fool us in such a complete and total way, presenting a fantasy world to us and convincing us that it is our reality. But Jesus also says this in A Course in Miracles, quote, "God would not have us be alone because He does not will to be alone. That is why He created His Son and gave Him the power to create with Him. Our creations are as holy as we are, and we are the sons of God Himself, and therefore as holy as He is. Through our creations we extend our love, and thus increase the joy of the Holy Trinity. You do not understand this for a very simple reason. You who are God's own treasure do not regard yourself as valuable. Given this belief, you cannot understand anything." End quote. In giving us the power to create like Him, and also giving us free will, God gave us the choice to miscreate, which basically means that we can imagine and fantasize about things that aren't true, and make them real to us. They're not really real, but they're real to our eyes and ears. With the pleasure and the pain cycles that are guaranteed us through seeking our salvation in things of this imaginary world, most Course in Miracles students come to a place where we realize that all we really want is peace, as with this prayer from the workbook. Quote, "The peace of God is everything I want. The peace of God is my one goal, the aim of all my living here, the end I seek, my purpose and my function and my life, while I abide where I am not at home. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me." End quote. Please, if you have any questions, or if you have a lot of confusion about what I'm saying here today, leave a comment below. I will answer it. I can't really do justice to the intricacies of this topic in a short video like this, so if there's threads that are hanging for you, I can do my best to address them if you give me the chance to. I know that this is a controversial topic and that many of us get quite upset when we hear that sickness that we are experiencing isn't real. Also, I would appreciate it very much if you liked and subscribed so this information can get passed along to more people. I hope you have a wonderful day full of blessings and miracles, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.